Just short of 1 year after Joanne Ringer of Clarksburg went missing, forensic analysis determined that remains recently found in Hatfield are that of Miss Ringer. The circumstances that led to her murder are still largely a mystery. Her late husband, Charles Reidy, remains the only suspect in the case. Reidy took his own life about a month into the police investigation of Ringer's disappearance. Reporter Bob Dunn of the Berkshire Eagle has followed this complicated case for the past year. I asked Dunn to take us back to how he first learned about Ringer's disappearance.
It was early March of last year. First news that came out was a pretty standard missing persons report. And then a couple of days later, there was news that a car was found in East Hampton, Massachusetts, and that linked back to Ms. Ringer. And then by that point, her husband and suspect in the case began making statements to the press about, hoping she was coming back and everybody was looking for her. And then sort of the support system that built up around the family started using social media and creating hashtags. And so it sort of grew from there, but it was sort of a gradual process as this sort of slow drip of information came out in the first week or so of March of last year.
And now here we are almost a year later, a little over a year later.
Right.
But last week, her remains were actually found and identified. What do we know about where the remains were found and the information connected to that?
It was a wooded area in Hatfield, Massachusetts, near Mountain Road.
Which is where her now late husband, because he took his own life about a month after he became suspected of the murder, right? So he initially said something to police that he was in that area?
Yeah, when he gave a statement to police on the 4th, they had asked him where he was the previous day. And among the other places that he said he drove looking for her is what he said. He mentioned Hatfield specifically and an oak tree near a tree farm, and he said that was a spot he would go to when he was upset. How close that spot is in relation to where they found the remains isn't really clear, but in hindsight, that really stuck out through the police interview as suspicious.
And so dental records were examined to link these remains to Ms. Ringer. Do we know anything at this point about cause of death?
Not that I'm aware of. We've made inquiries to the Berkshire District Attorney's Office as well as the Northwestern District Attorney's Office.
Because both are involved because she was from Clarksburg or living in Clarksburg, and then where the remains were found.
The criminal end of the case was being handled in Berkshire County, and then obviously the remains were discovered in Hatfield, and there was a lot of investigatory work done in Hampshire County, East Hampton, and the surrounding area as well. But as far as the actual cause of death, we're still waiting for some official word on that.
She has a daughter, Savannah, and friends. What have they said about what type of person she was?
They described her as a really sort of complex woman. One friend said she was a woman of many faces, was the phrase he used, and just a very fun-loving, independent, really tough sort of individual. There was one great story that came out during the past year that she was a big motorcycle enthusiast and very famously refused a ride home because she wasn't going to ride on the back of somebody else's motorcycle. And so her friend went home, got his truck, and came back and gave her a ride that way because she held to it. So, but everyone who knew her and who's been gracious enough to talk to us over the last year, just she really made an impact on her family and friends' lives.
Now, her late husband, Charles Chad Reidy of Clarksburg, their relationship, Ms. Ringer's and Mr. Reidy's relationship was a complicated one, right? A lot of your reporting, you actually examined a lot of the records that were available publicly.
It was a lot of back and forth. It really oscillated between this sort of like treacly sort of affection for each other to these really dark accusations of infidelity and physical abuse and emotional abuse and things like that. Sometimes series of messages would move back and forth between those two extremes over the course of a couple of days even. So complicated is an appropriate word, I think, at least for the type of relationship they had.
And now we do know that her remains were found, but there was almost a year of question and unease and just struggle for her family, her daughter, and her friends over the course of that time. And they really connected with the domestic violence community, right? And they were doing some advocacy work.
Yeah, they've gotten involved with Safe Passage.
There's an annual hot chocolate run, I think.
Yep, they've sponsored a team for that. I believe that they're going to do that again in the coming year. Representatives from Safe Passage and other advocacy groups possibly have spoken at memorials and vigils and things like that. So in a recent interview a couple of weeks ago, Ms. Ringer's daughter, Savannah, and her friend Ginger Plantier were hoping that if something positive comes out of it, it's that there's more awareness around the issue, more people will have information about advocacy and where they can go to try and get themselves out of a similar situation.
You also did some reporting speaking to a therapist about the psychological impact of really the unknown around this case.
There's some relief when you get that piece of news, but then this sort of delayed grieving process happens. And in a case like this, where somebody met a violent end before their time, then there's this lingering. She was
young. She wasn't even 40 before
No, she would have turned 40 in January, mid-January of this year. So she was 39 when she died. And then there's this residual anger sort of mixed in with all these other complex feelings that, this shouldn't have happened. And so it's a lot more complicated of a grieving process and closure process than, say, if, a loved one in their 80s, passed away of natural causes, something like that.
For you as a reporter, I mean, you covered this case extensively over the course of the past year.
Sure.
You're looking at some very gory details, very gruesome details within these court documents, I imagine. What's it like for you personally as you're going through this material?
It comes with the desk. I mean, I'm, a court and crime reporter by trade for the Eagle, so it's a matter of compartmentalizing and just trying to approach it as matter-of-factly as you can. But I mean, we're all people, so I mean, these things, affect you, but you just try and take a page from the book of the people that you interviewed who approach this with, a lot of candor and a lot of accessibility and a lot of grace,